If your UI is invisible and you know that your craftsperson level is high enough, this is a possible solution that may help you. So I have two objects here. One of them will show the UI, which just has this node graph here, and the other one will just change the player class, which is this node graph here. And if I go into my node graph here, you can see that these are the only two node graphs that exist in this project. It's very fresh. The show UI simply waits until a player enters the collider and shows this text box, and the change class simply just changes the player class to this thing. If I go to the UI here, you'll see that the text box is the only thing here, and it just has this text here. Now that I'm in the game, if I simply go on this object, you can see the UI properly shows, and the only thing that this object does is change the player class. And you can see that it did change the player class, but it also removed the UI completely. Now we can get it back if we go on to this object again, but the reason why it's doing this is a bit annoying, and I'll go over that right now. So if I go to the player class, you can see that I only have two classes, the default and the next. All this next does is level up the player to level 20. But you'll notice that there's an interesting section here called the select layout. Now, when we're changing the class, the default state of the interface layout is this thing. So because we have our text box as initially invisible, because this is the default state of the interface layout, when we change our class, it just resets it to the default state. So the reason why the text disappears is for simply that reason. It just goes back to the default state when the class is changed. So a way to fix this is to simply convert this to a template. So if I convert this to a template, and if I click this here, save, I think it's already saved, right? Yeah, okay. So now in the show UI node graph, we have to add two things: the activate UI control group and control group library, and the modify UI. And so we have to get this ID here, copy this and paste this in here, and we want the status to be on. Make sure to apply the player, and I'll actually go back to the UI manager here and go back to the interface layout and just delete this, because we don't want to accidentally use the ID for this. I mean, you can still have it there if you want, but we're not going to use it. But with that all out of the way, we can start the game. And now when we go on the object, it'll correctly show the UI. And when I change my class, the UI still stays and doesn't disappear.